Have you ever wondered why kindness, a virtue cherished by everyone, sometimes becomes the source of disappointment? Why do acts of goodwill, instead of being met with gratitude, often get overlooked or even exploited? This isn't just the story of one individual but a profound lesson rooted in Buddhist philosophy and many cultural traditions around the world. Welcome to Buddhism and Philosophy, a space where we explore timeless wisdom, inspiring stories, and meaningful lessons for life. Today, we'll delve into an essential paradox: is kindness always respected? Or does it require a balance of wisdom and discernment to truly thrive? If you enjoy content like this, please support us by hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications below. By doing so, you're not only joining us on this journey of exploring philosophy but also helping to spread humanistic values to more people. Now, take a moment to pause and reflect as we embark on a profound story about kindness and the power of mindfulness. The journey of kindness often begins with sincerity but doesn't always end in harmony. A disciple, once believing kindness to be everything, went on a journey of self-discovery to realize that even kindness needs boundaries. His story isn't just his own, it mirrors the experiences of many of us who have been hurt by kindness that lacked proper balance. Imagine a river flowing through a forest. It carries refreshing waters that nourish plants, animals, and humans alike. But without boundaries, without protecting itself from abuse, can the river sustain itself for long? This story serves as a reminder that kindness must be accompanied by mindfulness to become a true strength. If kindness is like a warm flame, wisdom is the lantern that keeps it burning brightly and enduringly. In Greek mythology, there is a famous story about Prometheus, the god who stole fire from the gods on Mount Olympus to give it to humanity. Prometheus was driven by kindness, a desire to bring light and civilization to mankind. However, that kindness lacked awareness of the consequences. Prometheus was severely punished by the gods, and the fire, symbolizing kindness, became something that could destroy if not used wisely. This story emphasizes that kindness is not merely about giving without thought. It requires an awareness of boundaries, not only of oneself but also of the recipient. Without this, it can lead to outcomes contrary to its original intent. In real life, people who are kind but lack wisdom often find themselves exploited. This not only drains them physically but also harms them emotionally. Let's return to the story of the disciple. When he learned to refuse unreasonable demands, he realized that not everyone deserved his kindness. Some people grew angry when he set boundaries, but he began to understand that their anger did not reflect his worth. Instead, it was the result of them losing privileges they had taken for granted due to his past submissiveness. This is the key: kindness must be paired with self-respect. For only when you respect yourself can others truly respect you. This respect doesn't come from self-sacrifice but from how you demonstrate your personal value. In Western philosophy, Aristotle famously said, "Virtue lies in balance." This means kindness must be exercised with consideration, not as unlimited giving, but as an action guided by wisdom and mindfulness. Imagine yourself on a small boat in the middle of the ocean. If you exhaust yourself helping others climb aboard without balancing the weight, the entire boat will capsize. Your kindness, though well-intentioned, can ultimately lead to negative consequences. This is not a failure of kindness but a sign that it must be adjusted to suit reality. In the modern world, we frequently encounter similar situations. An overly dedicated employee may be assigned extra work without recognition. A friend who is too willing to help may find themselves taken advantage of in personal relationships. These scenarios are not new. But they remind us that kindness should not be mistaken for blind agreement, it must be a conscious choice. Like Prometheus, we must learn to protect our fire. This doesn't mean stopping our acts of sharing, but sharing with mindfulness and responsibility. When we do this, our kindness not only benefits others but also protects us from burnout. Kindness in relationships, from sacrifice to companionship. Kindness, when expressed in relationships, can be a precious gift. But it can also lead to imbalance if practiced without mindfulness. In friendships, love, or family, kindness is often seen as a form of devotion. Yet, does that devotion always foster connection? Or can it sometimes create pressure for both sides? Let's begin with the story of Maria, a woman living in New York who always prioritized her family's needs. Maria worked overtime to pay for her younger sister's tuition, was always there to listen to her parents when they needed someone to confide in, and never hesitated to help her friends whenever they asked. But one day, Maria realized she was becoming increasingly exhausted. Those she loved began to take her efforts for granted. They never asked if she was okay. And when she needed help, no one seemed willing to step up. Maria's story is not uncommon. It clearly illustrates the imbalance that occurs when kindness is offered without self-respect. Maria wasn't wrong to love her family and friends, but her lack of boundaries left her vulnerable to being taken advantage of, draining her inner strength. This brings us back to Buddhist philosophy. The Buddha once said, "You cannot fill another's cup if your own cup is empty." Kindness must come from a place of abundance, not from lack or obligation. If Maria had learned to set boundaries, she could have safeguarded her mental and physical well-being while teaching others that love and kindness are shared, not one-sided responsibilities. Imagine a friend who is always the first to lend a helping hand but never asks for help in return. This not only makes them vulnerable but also creates an unhealthy dynamic in their relationships. Kindness, when not guided by intention, can become a burden rather than a joy. So, how can kindness become a partnership rather than a sacrifice? The answer lies in changing how we perceive ourselves in relationships. Instead of seeing kindness as unconditional giving, we must view it as an investment in a balanced and reciprocal connection. This approach not only sustains kindness but also encourages others to value what they receive. In relationships, saying no can sometimes be the kindest thing you can do. It is not a sign of rejection but a way to affirm the value of both yourself and the relationship. When you say no to unreasonable demands, you're not just protecting yourself, you're sending a clear message: your kindness is a gift, not an obligation. Kindness and self-respect, how kindness reflects personal value. When we think about kindness, most people consider it a precious quality, perhaps even the cornerstone of a good person. But have you ever stopped to consider that kindness is not just about helping others but also a way to define and affirm your own value? When kindness is misunderstood or practiced without self-respect and mindfulness, does it truly help? Or does it instead overshadow your own worth? A psychological study in the United States revealed that individuals who are always willing to help without setting boundaries are more likely to feel burned out compared to those who know how to maintain balance. More strikingly, these individuals often feel unappreciated in their relationships. This raises an important question: how can kindness become not just an act of giving but also a reflection of self-respect? The answer lies in the concept of personal boundaries. Setting boundaries is not about rejecting kindness but about protecting and directing it where it is most needed. For example, if a friend constantly asks for your help without ever being willing to reciprocate, it not only disrupts the balance of the relationship but can also leave you feeling hurt over time. When you courageously say, no, it's not a rejection of kindness, it's an affirmation of your value. A story from Western philosophy illustrates this lesson perfectly. Marcus Aurelius, the renowned Roman emperor, wrote in his work Meditations, "Do not let yourself be ruled by the expectations of others. Your value lies in what you do for truth and justice, not in your desire to please everyone." This teaches us that genuine kindness must be tied to integrity and self-respect. Consider a mighty tree standing tall in an open field. It provides shade and shelter to passers-by but never allows itself to be broken. Your kindness should be like that tree, always ready to give but never at the expense of your strength and stability. So how can kindness become an expression of self-respect? First, you need to recognize that kindness is not about sacrifice but a conscious choice. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I genuinely want to? Or because I fear disappointing others? Answering this question honestly will help you adjust your actions. Second, remember that respect always begins with yourself. When you offer kindness from a place of strength, you not only create genuine value but also inspire others to respect and appreciate you more. This principle applies not only to personal relationships but also in the workplace, society, and any other setting. Kindness and wisdom. When kindness becomes an inspiration. Kindness is not just an action, it is a way of life, a manifestation of inner strength. However, without wisdom, kindness can easily be misunderstood or even exploited. So how can we practice kindness wisely, ensuring it benefits others while also inspiring and encouraging them to lead better lives? In Japanese culture, there is a concept called giri, meaning moral obligation. The Japanese believe that when you receive kindness, you have a responsibility to reciprocate with equivalent goodwill. This teaches us that kindness is not a one-way street. It is an interaction between the giver and the receiver, guided by wisdom and understanding. A kind act should not be a mere sacrifice but should encourage gratitude and the willingness to share kindness with others. Let's return to the story of the disciple. After applying the lessons from his teacher, he realized that kindness must be accompanied by mindfulness. He did not stop helping others but began to observe and ask himself, does this action truly bring long-term benefit? Or is it fostering dependence? When he acted with wisdom, his kindness became a source of inspiration for those around him. They not only accepted his help but also learned to take responsibility and grow from the experience. A modern example illustrates this idea well. Imagine you are a manager in a company. You have an employee who frequently struggles to meet deadlines. You could choose to help them by taking over their tasks. But would this help in the long run? Or would it create a cycle of dependence? Instead, if you encourage them to learn and solve problems independently, you not only help them improve their skills but also build their confidence. This is the fusion of kindness and wisdom. Buddhist philosophy emphasizes that true compassion is not about doing everything for others but about helping them realize their inner potential. The Buddha taught, no one can walk the path to enlightenment for you. Each person must walk it with their own feet. Kindness, when practiced mindfully, does not lead to dependency but encourages growth and maturity. However, wisdom is not only about knowing when to help but also about knowing how to say no. Saying no gracefully is not selfish, it is a way to protect yourself and maintain balance. This is especially crucial in modern society, where competition and pressure often make people feel they must please everyone. When you learn to say no with kindness, you not only safeguard your mental well-being but also teach others that kindness is not an obligation but a precious gift. Kindness in culture and life, lessons from a global perspective. Kindness, illuminated through the lens of various cultures. is universally celebrated as a core value. However, the ways in which different cultures perceive and practice kindness are diverse, offering profound lessons on how we can balance kindness with wisdom. Let's begin with a story from India, the birthplace of the Buddha and a land where compassion lies at the heart of spiritual teachings. In ancient Hindu literature, there is a tale about Krishna, the revered deity known for his wisdom and compassion. One day, Krishna helped a beggar by giving him a bag of gold. Instead of cherishing and using the gold to build a better life, the beggar squandered it on meaningless pursuits and returned to Krishna, asking for more. This time, Krishna, with his wisdom, refused. He didn't deny the beggar out of a lack of kindness, but because he understood that kindness should not encourage dependency. The lesson here is clear: kindness must be directed toward creating real, lasting change rather than merely addressing temporary needs. This story reflects a common reality: kindness is not always received appropriately. Not because it lacks value, but because the recipient may not be ready to appreciate or utilize it. This underscores why kindness must be paired with wisdom. When you offer kindness with clear intention, you not only assist others but also guide them toward independence and growth. In Western culture, kindness is also viewed through a unique lens. Victor Hugo, author of Les Miserables, depicted kindness through the character of Bishop Muriel. When Jean Valjean, a former prisoner, stole from him, the bishop not only forgave him but also gave him additional valuable items to help him transform his life. The bishop's kindness was not just an act of forgiveness, it was an encouragement for Valjean to recognize his own worth and pursue a better life. In this way, kindness becomes not merely an action but a powerful source of inspiration for change. These stories teach us that kindness should not stop at helping but should also inspire. When you extend kindness from a place of abundance and mindfulness, you not only soothe temporary pain but also help others realize their potential. Consider how this applies to everyday life. If you are a leader, your kindness extends beyond supporting employees in their struggles, it involves creating opportunities for them to learn and grow. If you are a parent, your kindness is not just about meeting your children's needs but also teaching them to stand on their own and face life's challenges. How can your kindness serve as a motivator rather than a burden? The answer lies in balancing softness with strength. Like a river flowing over rocks, kindness needs flexibility but also enough firmness to maintain its course. When you set mindful boundaries, you not only protect yourself but also teach others to value kindness. Kindness at work, wisdom for building a sustainable team. In the modern workplace, kindness is not just a personal virtue but a critical component in building a strong company culture. However, workplace kindness is not simply about being agreeable or pleasing everyone. It needs to be guided by mindfulness and a deep understanding of long-term goals. Imagine you are a manager at a startup. To maintain harmony within your team, you strive to help everyone, taking on additional tasks whenever someone is struggling. Over time, this becomes a habit, and you notice some team members beginning to rely on you excessively. They start shifting their responsibilities onto you, while you slowly deplete your energy and lose the ability to focus on strategic priorities. This not only impacts you but also negatively affects the entire team. This is the key takeaway: kindness at work must be paired with wisdom. When you assist colleagues conditionally, you're not just supporting them in the short term but also encouraging them to develop skills and take responsibility. This isn't cold-heartedness, it's genuine compassion because it aims for long-term benefits for everyone involved. The story of Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, illustrates this concept clearly. When he took over the company, One of his most significant decisions was to invest in employee welfare, including healthcare benefits and educational opportunities. This was an act of kindness, but not the kind that fosters dependency. Instead, it motivated employees to feel valued and contribute more meaningfully. Schultz demonstrated how wise kindness could become a powerful force for building a sustainable team. Let's turn to Buddhist philosophy for further insight. The Buddha taught, the giver should not be exhausted, and the receiver should not become dependent. This principle is particularly relevant in the workplace, where balancing kindness and responsibility is key to fostering a healthy environment. By setting thoughtful boundaries, you not only protect your energy but also inspire others to rise to the occasion. Kindness in the workplace must also be accompanied by fairness. If one team member continually receives favoritism without contributing proportionally, it can breed resentment within the group. Practicing kindness with fairness and transparency fosters unity and reinforces trust in the value of kindness. But what happens if your kindness is misunderstood or exploited? This brings us to an important lesson: kindness doesn't need universal approval. Sometimes, wisdom in kindness requires saying no, protecting yourself and the team from unreasonable demands. This isn't selfishness, it's a way to ensure that your kindness generates genuine value. Kindness in family, when love must be guided by wisdom. Family is where kindness is often taken for granted. We love our parents, children, and siblings with all our hearts. Yet sometimes we forget that kindness within the family must also be guided by wisdom. Without it, love can unintentionally turn into control. Kindness can become a burden, and the most precious relationships may fracture. Imagine a mother who constantly meets her children's every need. She sacrifices her time, sleep, and personal interests to care for them. At first, her children feel the boundless love she provides. However, as they grow older, their habitual reliance on her assistance without effort fosters dependency and erodes their self-sufficiency. One day, the mother feels drained, and the children, rather than appreciating her sacrifices, criticize her for not meeting their expectations. This story illustrates that kindness without mindfulness can yield unintended consequences. Even in family love, Buddhism teaches, compassion is not about fulfilling every desire but about giving what is needed to nurture wisdom and strength. Within the family, kindness should be practiced thoughtfully. This doesn't mean loving less, but loving more mindfully. A father who allows his child to rise after each fall isn't being uncaring, he's providing one of life's greatest lessons in independence and resilience. Another example comes from American culture. Consider the story of Steve Jobs. As a child, his father, Paul Jobs, taught him to approach every task, no matter how small, with care and dedication. Paul didn't do everything for Steve, but he guided him in fixing things, solving problems, and learning from failure. This nurtured Steve's creativity and independence, shaping him into one of the most iconic figures in technology. Paul Jobs' kindness wasn't blind sacrifice but purposeful guidance. In family dynamics, setting boundaries for kindness is a way to protect both the giver and the receiver. A child caring for elderly parents may feel overwhelmed if they don't balance responsibilities. However, by sharing duties with siblings or seeking community support, they can maintain their mental well-being while providing better care for their parents. This isn't shirking responsibility but ensuring kindness is sustainable. Similarly, when parents teach children to value hard work instead of immediately fulfilling every request, they instill gratitude and responsibility. Kindness, in this case, goes beyond giving, it helps shape character and instill values for the next generation. But what happens when kindness within the family is misunderstood? Some may feel hurt when their actions aren't met with gratitude. This reminds us that kindness should come from the heart but also be paired with wisdom to avoid the bitterness of unreciprocated sacrifice. Kindness in society, the power of collective compassion. In society, kindness is not merely a personal virtue but the glue that binds communities together. When kindness is practiced collectively, it benefits not just an individual or a small group but can spark transformative change on a larger scale. However, for kindness in society to reach its full potential, it must be guided by wisdom and grounded in practicality. Take the example of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, one of the largest philanthropic organizations in the world. They have donated billions of dollars to assist those in need. But their work goes beyond simple charity. They invest in long-term solutions, such as advancements in healthcare and education. Their kindness isn't just about providing aid but addressing the root causes of problems. Through this thoughtful approach, they have played a key role in eradicating diseases like polio and malaria, which once devastated developing nations. This story reminds us that kindness in society should be more than temporary relief, it should be an investment in the future. To achieve this, kindness must be strategic and focused. While we can't solve every issue simultaneously, we can make a significant impact by concentrating on areas where we can have the greatest influence. Another inspiring example is the Pay It Forward movement. This initiative encourages people to perform acts of kindness and ask recipients to pass the goodwill along to others. It not only spreads kindness but also fosters a sense of responsibility in everyone to contribute to a better society. This demonstrates that kindness doesn't have to be elaborate or costly, even small. Sincere actions can create ripples of positivity that extend far and wide. However, kindness in society faces challenges. One of the most significant is skepticism. In a world where fraud and exploitation exist, many people hesitate to give for fear that their kindness will be misunderstood or abused. This is why kindness must be paired with mindfulness. When you give with careful consideration, you not only protect yourself but also ensure that your actions deliver genuine value. Buddhism teaches, when a drop of water falls into the ocean, it becomes part of the vast sea. Kindness in society is much like that drop of water. When we act together, the power of kindness multiplies, creating a great current capable of transforming the world. But that drop only holds value when it merges with wisdom, knowing where it flows and what it contributes to the larger purpose. Imagine participating in a community project to assist the homeless. Simply providing daily meals can help alleviate immediate struggles. But a program that includes job training or mental health support doesn't just address short-term needs, it opens pathways to a sustainable future. This is the difference between short-term kindness and long-term compassion. When practiced wisely, kindness becomes a powerful force for collective change, inspiring others and paving the way for a brighter, more connected world. Kindness and self-transformation, from giving to discovering yourself. Kindness is not just a gift we offer to others, it is also a path that leads to inner transformation. When practiced mindfully, kindness not only strengthens our relationships but also opens doors to a deeper understanding of ourselves. It is a journey that takes us from giving to discovering peace within our souls. In Buddhism, compassion is not merely an outward action but also an internal state of being. The Buddha once taught, nurture compassion like a fire that never stops burning. But don't let that fire consume you. This means that when we practice kindness, we must also look inward to ensure that our actions come from a place of abundance rather than emptiness. A story from Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh further illustrates this point. During a meditation session, a participant asked him, "How can I keep helping others without feeling drained?" The Zen master smiled and replied, "Be like a bamboo tree. It is strong but hollow inside, allowing the wind to pass through without breaking it." This response suggests that when kindness is free from attachments and expectations, it becomes a source of strength rather than a burden. In modern psychology, there is a concept known as reverse gratitude. When you engage in acts of kindness with the awareness that these actions are also gifts to yourself, you feel more fulfilled and content. For instance, helping a stranger through a tough time doesn't just provide them with support, it also fills your heart with warmth, a positive energy that motivates you to live a better life. Kindness is also a powerful tool for transforming negative emotions. Often, when we feel anger, frustration, or hurt, practicing kindness can help us regain balance. Imagine having a terrible day at work. Instead of letting negative feelings take over, you choose to help someone else, whether by offering a smile or sharing a funny story. These small acts not only brighten someone else's day but also ease your own emotional burden. However, self-transformation isn't solely about helping others, it's also about learning to be kind to yourself. In today's fast-paced world, many people forget that kindness isn't just for the outside world, it must also be directed inward. When you learn to forgive yourself, accept your mistakes, and treat yourself like a friend, you'll realize that kindness is not only an ethical virtue but also a source of spiritual nourishment. That said, this transformation doesn't happen automatically. It requires us to practice kindness mindfully and continually ask ourselves, is this action truly coming from a place of sincerity? Does it bring balance to both me and the recipient? By reflecting on these questions, kindness can become a compass guiding us toward inner growth and maturity. Kindness, patience, and harmony in life. In the journey of practicing kindness, patience is an indispensable element. Without patience, kindness can become impulsive, sometimes leading to outcomes contrary to its original intention. Patience not only helps us maintain a calm mind when our acts of kindness are not immediately appreciated but also preserves harmony in our lives and relationships. Let's begin with a real-life story. Thomas Edison, the great American inventor, failed more than 1,000 times before perfecting the electric light bulb. Yet, instead of giving up, he remained steadfast in his belief and patience. When a reporter asked him, "You've failed thousands of times. Why not quit?" Edison smiled and replied, "I have not failed. I've just found over 1,000 ways that don't work." Kindness operates in a similar way. It often requires time and effort before its true impact becomes apparent. Patience in kindness keeps us from giving up even when results are unclear. In Buddhism, patience is considered one of the paramithas, the essential qualities needed to achieve enlightenment. The Buddha taught, patience is the lamp that illuminates even the darkest paths. This means that kindness practiced with patience becomes a resilient force capable of overcoming any obstacle. However, patience does not mean endlessly accepting injustice or exploitation. It requires discernment to know when to wait and when to act. A patient person understands that everything takes time to develop, but they also set boundaries when necessary. This balance between kindness and wisdom is what creates harmony. A compelling example comes from the field of education. Great teachers do more than help students understand lessons, they patiently guide them to develop critical thinking and personal skills. Rather than forcing immediate results, they create conditions for each student to progress at their own pace. This is not just kindness, it is also respect for each individual's learning process. When patience is combined with kindness, it fosters sustainable growth and harmony. Now, consider this in your everyday life. You might be trying to help a friend through a tough time, but they seem resistant to change. It's natural to feel frustrated or want to give up. Yet, patience and kindness reminds us that meaningful changes don't happen overnight. What matters is that you've sown seeds of goodwill and inspired them to keep trying. The harmony that kindness and patience bring exists not only in our relationships with others but also within ourselves. When you practice kindness with patience, you're not just offering love, you're also cultivating a peaceful space in your mind. This helps reduce stress and alleviates the pressures of daily life. But how do you maintain patience in a world filled with relentless demands? The answer lies in practicing mindfulness. When you offer kindness without attaching it to expectations, you're less likely to feel disappointed. Mindfulness helps you understand that kindness is not a transaction, it's a voluntary act that comes from the heart and is sustained by patience. Kindness, humility, and gratitude, the three pillars of a meaningful life. When kindness is intertwined with humility and gratitude, it not only enhances our relationships with others but also shapes a serene and contented spirit. These three qualities, when combined, form a solid foundation for a fulfilling and meaningful life. Humility and kindness is a challenging lesson to grasp because we can easily fall into the trap of seeking recognition or praise for our good deeds. However, true kindness does not need to be a performance. It is like sunlight, quietly spreading warmth and light without demanding attention, yet nourishing everything it touches. Humility purifies kindness, steering it away from expectations of reciprocation or acknowledgement. A famous story from Japan illustrates this concept beautifully. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a prominent warlord during the Sengoku period, was renowned for his kindness and humility. Despite wielding great power, he treated soldiers and commoners with compassion, never placing himself above others. When a young soldier asked him, "My lord, why do you treat us so kindly when you don't have to?" Hideyoshi replied, "A mountain stands tall not because it is arrogant, but because it is steadfast and embraces the rivers below." His response demonstrates how humility strengthens kindness, making it more powerful and deeply respected. Alongside humility, gratitude is another essential facet of kindness. When we appreciate what we have received, kindness becomes a natural response rather than a burdensome obligation. The Buddha once said, "Be grateful to those who are difficult, for they teach you patience. Be grateful to those who reject you, for they teach you resilience." This reminds us that even negative experiences can inspire us to practice kindness. In practice, gratitude not only sustains kindness but also fosters a positive mindset. A study by the University of California found that people who practice gratitude daily tend to be happier and healthier. When you pause to appreciate the small things in life, a peaceful morning, a warm cup of coffee, or encouraging words from a friend, you realize that kindness doesn't always have to be a grand gesture. Sometimes, simply being grateful and sharing joy can spread kindness to those around you. A powerful example of this is the Make-A-Wish Foundation, where volunteers work to fulfill the dreams of children with critical illnesses. Their kindness not only brings joy to the children but also inspires society at large. Volunteers often share that they feel immense gratitude for the opportunity to help others and gain joy from the children's smiles. This serves as a vivid demonstration of the connection between kindness, humility, and gratitude. But how can we integrate these three qualities into our daily lives? First, always act from the heart, not from a desire for attention or recognition. Second, Take time regularly to reflect on what you are grateful for, no matter how small it may seem. Finally, remember that kindness doesn't need to be perfect. Sometimes sincerity is enough. Practicing kindness in adversity, a light in the darkness. Practicing kindness in favorable circumstances can be likened to water flowing over flat terrain, gentle and unhindered. But when faced with difficulties and challenges, kindness becomes a small boat navigating through turbulent waters. It is in these moments that kindness is truly tested and shines its brightest. Let's begin with the story of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison for his fight against apartheid in South Africa. Despite enduring immense injustice and suffering, Mandela refused to let hatred consume his heart. Instead, he chose the path of compassion and forgiveness. After his release, he did not seek revenge but focused on national reconciliation. His kindness, displayed in a situation where most would choose anger, became a source of inspiration for millions around the world. Mandela's story teaches us that kindness in adversity is not just an act but a conscious choice. It requires inner strength to overcome personal pain and see the bigger picture, where kindness can lead to profound and lasting change. But how can we practice kindness when life is challenging? First, remember that kindness doesn't have to be grand. In difficult times, a small gesture, a comforting word, a warm smile, can bring hope to those around you. Second, draw strength from within. Buddhism teaches, in the eye of the storm, there is a place of peace. This reminds us that even when facing our greatest challenges, we can find inner calm to practice kindness. Another example comes from World War II. During one of history's darkest periods, Oskar Schindler, a German businessman, risked his life to save over 1,000 Jewish people from the horrors of the Holocaust. He used his personal wealth to protect the oppressed, despite the constant threat of punishment from the Nazi regime. Schindler's kindness, displayed in a dangerous and unjust time, stands as a symbol of humanity's resilience in the face of darkness. These stories remind us that kindness is not always easy, but it is in adversity that its true power is revealed. Choosing kindness in difficult times not only makes a difference for others but also strengthens your character, shaping you into a more compassionate and resilient individual. However, to ensure that kindness in adversity does not become a burden, it is essential to set boundaries. This does not mean refusing to help, but rather understanding how to protect your own energy to sustain your efforts. An act of kindness should not deplete you completely. Instead, it should be carried out mindfully, ensuring that both you and the recipient feel uplifted and nourished by the action. Kindness as a way of life, the harmony of heart and mind. Kindness is not just a series of isolated actions performed in certain circumstances, it can become a way of life. A mental state that enables us to experience harmony between heart and mind. When kindness permeates every aspect of our lives, it not only enriches relationships but also brings profound inner peace. An inspiring example of kindness as a way of life is the story of Jane Goodall, the renowned scientist in wildlife conservation. She dedicated her life to studying and protecting chimpanzees while spreading the message of compassion for animals and the environment. Jane once said, "Every small act of kindness has the power to change the world." She didn't just talk about kindness, she embodied it daily through her interactions with people and nature. Living with kindness like Jane doesn't require grand gestures. Often, small, consistent actions performed with sincerity can create more profound impacts. It could be patiently listening to a friend in need, offering a smile to a stranger, or simply maintaining a calm demeanor when faced with everyday challenges. Buddhist philosophy emphasizes every action, every word, every thought has the potential to bring peace. When kindness becomes part of how we think, speak, and act, it ripples outward like waves on a pond, touching everyone around us. This enriches not only others' lives but also nurtures an inner stability filled with positive energy. However, living with kindness doesn't mean ignoring reality or suppressing your own emotions. It is a balance of compassion and wisdom. When we practice mindful kindness, we understand when to give, when to pause, and when to care for ourselves. This is the harmony of heart and mind, a union of love and discernment. Imagine a busy workday when you feel pressured and exhausted. In such moments, choosing kindness isn't just about how you treat others but also how you treat yourself. It might involve reminding yourself to take a break, refraining from harsh self-criticism, or finding joy in small, simple things. When you practice kindness toward yourself, it becomes easier to extend that kindness to those around you. One effective way to embrace kindness as a way of life is to cultivate daily habits that foster compassion. Take time to reflect on what you are grateful for. Send an encouraging message to a friend, or participate in a community activity. These habits not only help you feel more connected to life but also reaffirm that kindness is an essential part of who you are. The legacy of kindness, timeless values that endure. When kindness is practiced consistently, it transcends individual actions to become a legacy, a lasting value that goes beyond our own lives. This legacy is not only preserved in the memories of those we help but also carried forward in their actions, thoughts, and emotions, inspiring others across generations. One of the most remarkable examples of the legacy of kindness is the life and work of Mahatma Gandhi, who led India's independence movement through his philosophy of nonviolence. Gandhi practiced kindness not just by advocating for the rights of millions but also by leaving a spiritual legacy rooted in compassion and patience. His teachings, such as, "Be the change you wish to see in the world," have not only been remembered but also adopted as guiding principles by millions worldwide. Gandhi's story demonstrates that the legacy of kindness isn't solely about the grand achievements one accomplishes but also about how they live and inspire others. Kindness, when practiced with mindfulness and wisdom, becomes an endless source of positive energy that continues to ripple outward. The legacy of kindness is also vividly present in family relationships. Think of a grandparent who spent a lifetime living with kindness and love. The stories they shared, the actions they took, and the values they instilled not only shape their descendants' character but also influence how future generations approach life. A simple piece of advice from an elder, such as "always put yourself in someone else's shoes before judging," can become a guiding principle for a life filled with empathy and generosity. However, the legacy of kindness isn't confined to famous figures or familial bonds. It is also found in the small, everyday acts of kindness performed by ordinary people. A stranger who helps fix a car on the roadside, a teacher who patiently supports struggling students, or a volunteer offering aid after a disaster, all contribute to creating a better world. Each act of kindness is like a seed planted, ready to grow and flourish wherever it may take root. To build a sustainable legacy of kindness, it's essential to practice it with consistency and without expectation. Buddhism teaches, actions born of compassion leave a lasting imprint on the minds of those who receive them, even if you do not seek recognition. This reminds us that the true value of kindness lies in its positive impact, not in immediate acknowledgement or rewards. Creating a legacy of kindness is not always easy. It requires overcoming challenges, whether they are misunderstandings or negative responses. Yet, It is during these difficult moments that kindness proves itself to be a resilient quality capable of transcending all boundaries. Consider a small community coming together to plant trees in their neighborhood. These saplings may take years to mature. But when they do, they provide shade, clean the air, and symbolize unity. This illustrates how kindness, when nurtured with patience and intention, can create a legacy that lasts for generations. In practicing kindness, we not only leave behind a legacy for others to follow but also discover that we ourselves grow stronger and more fulfilled. Through kindness, we shape a better world and ensure that its value endures through time. Kindness as a source of strength through life's ups and downs. Life is an unpredictable series of highs and lows. There are times when we feel as if we're standing atop a mountain, and other days when we seem lost in a deep valley. In those moments, kindness toward ourselves and others becomes the wellspring of strength that allows us to navigate challenges with serenity and purpose. Buddhism teaches, within each person lies an inner light. When you ignite the lamp of kindness, it illuminates the path for yourself and others. This wisdom reminds us that kindness is not merely a moral value, it is an inner force that helps us maintain calm and discover a way forward even in the most difficult circumstances. Consider someone who has just lost their dream job. In their disappointment, they could easily sink into anger or helplessness. However, if they choose to be kind to themselves, by allowing time to rest, reflecting on their worth, and persevering, they may see this setback as an opportunity to learn and grow. Kindness to oneself in such moments not only soothes the pain but also becomes a catalyst for continuing the journey forward. Kindness also strengthens us in navigating challenging relationships. A story from Indian culture recounts the transformation of Emperor Ashoka, who was once a ruthless leader engaged in devastating wars. After witnessing the immense suffering he caused, Ashoka chose to radically change his life. He embraced compassion in governance, actively sought reconciliation with neighboring kingdoms, and transformed India into a peaceful and prosperous empire. Ashoka's kindness was not merely an act of atonement but a source of strength that enabled him to build a legacy of peace lasting for centuries. In daily life, kindness helps us approach conflicts with clarity and grace. When confronted with criticism or disputes, instead of retaliating with anger, choosing kindness can not only diffuse tension but also preserve our own peace of mind. This demonstrates the power of inner strength, proving that kindness is not a weakness but a sustainable and enduring form of resilience. However, for kindness to truly become a source of strength, it must be practiced mindfully. This means understanding when to give and when to conserve energy for oneself. Often, the power of kindness lies not in immediate action but in its capacity to create lasting change through patience and wisdom. A striking example of this is seen in volunteers working under challenging conditions, such as refugee camps or disaster-stricken areas. They not only give kindness but draw strength from it to endure difficult circumstances. These individuals understand that kindness is not always immediately acknowledged, yet it has the potential to effect profound change over time. Like a stream flowing through rocky terrain, kindness can overcome obstacles when nurtured with mindfulness and perseverance. In life's unpredictable journey, it is this kindness, both quiet and powerful, that enables us to rise above adversity and illuminate the path for others. Kindness, in its purest essence, is a manifestation of love and empathy that humans extend to one another. Through every story, every philosophy, and every lesson we have explored, kindness emerges not merely as a singular act but as a state of mind, a way of life, and, above all, a source of strength to help us endure life's highs and lows. We have witnessed kindness in small gestures, like a smile offered to a stranger, and in grand acts, such as movements fighting for social justice. From the stories of Gandhi, Mandela, to ordinary yet extraordinary individuals like Captain Tom Moore, all have shown that kindness knows no boundaries of wealth, status, or circumstance. It is a lamp we each have the power to light, not only for ourselves but for those around us. But kindness is not solely about giving. It demands wisdom to ensure it is given effectively and sustainably. Buddhism teaches, kindness is not unconditional sacrifice but a balance between giving and conserving. When you offer kindness from a place of abundance, you enrich not only the lives of others but also your own spirit. This reminds us that kindness does not need to be perfect, it only needs to come from a sincere heart. In today's ever-changing world, kindness is an indispensable source of energy. It brings peace amidst tension, serves as a bridge in conflicts, and fuels positive change. Whether you are supporting a friend in a tough time, participating in a community movement, or simply being kind to yourself, every act contributes to creating a better world. Looking back on our journey through this discussion, it's clear that kindness is not an abstract concept but a tangible practice that can be applied to every aspect of life. Start with the small things: listen when someone needs to talk, offer a heartfelt compliment, or help someone in need. These simple acts have a ripple effect more powerful than you might imagine. The Buddhism and Philosophy channel extends heartfelt gratitude to you for joining us in this exploration of the value of kindness. If this content has resonated with you, please share it with those you love to help spread these invaluable lessons. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay connected with future meaningful content. Remember, every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to make a difference. And you are the one who can start it all. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you in the next lesson.